tiger on the prowl. I'ma make it go wild. I'm original, and I told you so. I'm a kid in the candy store with the leather on the denim. I ain't the cure, I'm the venom. If you wanna find me, find the taillight. Something's coming in, you're gonna wanna take a red eye. It's time to go. It's time to go. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. I don't wait for nobody. I'ma sign my name on the dotty. City lights call my name, drawn to the flame, and I'm feeling kinda naughty. I hit the ground running, step out the door and I'm stunning. Better hold tight cause you know what's going down. I'm setting the pace cause this is my town. So get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink.
What up, rest day? Oh, I almost said what up Wednesday. What up, rest day? It's FHumpires. Keely Dunn. Good to see you all. Good to see you. In focus, out of focus. In focus, out of focus. It is a Thursday for most of us, but let's face it, for Stefan and let's see, anybody else? No, nobody else in the comments so far, but Stefan does live in the future, so kia ora, and thank you for coming. Good to see you all. It is the second rest day of the Hockey World Cup for women, and we are going to take this opportunity, since there were very big matches going on yesterday during the What Up Wednesday time. We're going to do a recap of basically what's going to be the second half of the pool matches and the quarterfinals today. Tomorrow, you see this mouth, and this camera, and this live stuff? None of it is going to be happening tomorrow because I'm actually not going to do anything tomorrow that involves speaking. I'm just going to be clipping videos. I'm going to be editing the crap out of the whole Final Cut Pro thing. That's going to be happening Saturday. We have the semifinals, all the two big games, and then Sunday the medal games. And that's it. That's it. We are 40 games into this tournament. And next Wednesday, we'll return to our regular schedule, and I will do a wrap up of, I'm sure there's going to be lots to talk about from the last days. So I will wrap up that, and we will maybe talk about something other than the World Cup. I don't know. It could happen. So awesome. This is what we got going on. Just looking and seeing a whole bunch of people have sprinted in. You know, Mr. Hunt, you didn't miss a thing because of the World Cup. We have totally changed up our schedule. I can't believe any of you are here because it's not Wednesday. I mean, how would you know? Notifications, the way I splash it across all the social medias, the way that it pings you in Discord, could be those things. But there you go. Yeah, you're still in the future. Oh, I'm sorry that you've had COVID. Ugh, time has no meaning. Once you get COVID, it just breaks time. So I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope you're going to get over this quickly and no long-term effects and all that sort of thing. There you go. You were alt-tabbed and you missed the start? Mr. Denman, it's, I don't know, like, where are you? Where's your head right now? You know I'm kidding. Pibworth's here. Thank you, Rachel, as always. Yes. Stain is here, and Niels. That is great to have you. Okay, let's get in. This is going to be a blur. Here's the topics. All 8 of them. We're going to do a video referral outside the 23-meter hand on stick, ball to hand versus hand to ball, goal played off body, clarity on taking the free hit, reversing the free hit, the new Facemask Rule, goalkeeper deflection off the end line, referring the wrong things, and a bonus. Topic 8, I called an audible. I was gonna do 7 with a bonus, and now I'm doing 8, which means 9, which means, oh my god, let's get going. What? Here we go. Here's our first topic. Video referral outside the 23-meter and perhaps the hand on stick. Let's go through this.
Chile can indeed find a first goal, and a second, and a third, and then a fourth. There's some defending to be done here. Oh, what a finish. What a finish.
We are in the Belgium-Chile game.
Drilled home. Engelbert, her second goal of the game.
Le estoy preguntando a ella, Ana, did you see anything? No, she said no. Pero no se puede.
Chile complaining, but
my Spanish isn't fantastic, but she's saying, I'm asking the question of my colleague. I've asked her, she's happy. I can't refer something that's outside of the area, is what she says. This happened way back.
But a great counter attack and getting the ball just under.
This isn't just outside the 23, friends. This is outside the center. This is almost in the other 23-meter area. It happened so far up the field.
Before she set off on that solo run.
And obviously the complaint coming from the Chilean team.
Side of the 23-meter line. Unless Chile can indeed find.
That's supposed to be going to this scene now. So the complaint from the Chilean team is that the ball was played with the body of the Belgian player. The initial take was clean, and then somehow it ping-ponged back and came up off one of their sticks, who knows whose, and they allege played it with the body and came down. What's interesting about this whole thing is that actually I don't think it was even played with the body. I think what happened is when you watch it very, very carefully and you watch the replay, it looks to me as though it came off the player's hand. So let me see if I can get right to the right spot here in this replay, because I believe at some point I give it a pause. Okay, I didn't do that. Sorry, I am scrolling, but okay, it's coming up to this point here. That's the point at which there's impact. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think when you see this, but I think in real time, especially anywhere on the pitch, we're going to judge that to be played by the hand of the player, not her arm, not her wrist even. Okay? And when she brings her stick up to try to play the ball, it gets even closer. Lower down on the hand. Okay, it's hard because the ball is white, uniform's white, stick grip is white, everything's white. Okay, right there, that to me looks like thumb, and like this part of that, like, what is that? Is there a word for that? I don't know if there's a word for that, but there we go. Allie, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, and so the rule that Niels is referring to here, as we do all know, because you guys are here every week, is that the hand is part of the stick when used in that fashion, okay, which is allowed. Hand on the stick is considered stick. So for me, pretty clear, and there wouldn't have been anything else. I'm wondering if you guys have any thoughts. I'm going to go to the 2-minute warning right away because that's how fast we're going today. I'd like to hear if y'all have any thoughts on a conversation that I've been hearing on the Twitterverse about extending referrals to outside the 23-meter area. There was an article in the hockey paper, an editorial piece. I don't subscribe because I don't like the way that that particular paper usually treats umpires, unless that they're writing for them, probably for free. But I think the argument was coming, oh, this is a travesty for hockey, that, you know, referrals should be allowable outside the 23 in particular circumstances. And the problem is there's such a slippery slope outside the 23, in my view. That looked clear for Rachel. Is the risk part of it? Now, see, here's the thing, is that there's nothing in the rules guidance and nothing in the interpretations that proclaims that there's a difference. Now, what I've seen on referrals is that they'll talk about, that they'll look at the glove, because so many players wear gloves, that as long as it hits sort of the glove, and that's what you can see, they'll consider that as being part of the hand. But the wrist, I don't know. Yeah, it does. I think it is a great goal. I don't think there's any problem with it whatsoever, is saying, David, you'd be okay with extending it where the goal or penalty stroke is the end result of the play, maybe. Okay, so where do you say that missed call directly led to that outcome? At what point do we get to, well, you know, a player blocking the ball halfway between the center line and the opposite 23, and she still doesn't get caught until, you know, she gets all the way to the goal, scores that great goal. When that's time. Shakum. I'm just kidding. I'll keep talking. At what point does that action directly lead to the outcome 60 meters away? So many other things could have happened, including, I don't know, maybe them playing a good structural defense. Like, I mean, it's just not, it's kind of bizarre. And that's the point that Steven's making here, given the alleged offense was almost 3/4 of the pitch away. You think it's not worth allowing the view there. So where do we start drawing the lines? The line is drawn at the 23-meter line. That's where we draw the line, because that also helps us with not going back to meaningless little calls like a sideline ball or something like that that goes the wrong way. Inside the 23, we have corners, strokes, and goals. That's it. That's all that can be reviewed by a team. Not whether they should have earned a free hit outside the circle. None of those things exist outside the 23. So how do you draw those distinctions? You simply can't. And you can look at this. You can look at the goal that was scored by Christopher Brewer. You'll remember this one. Okay, because we talked about it in depth. This was the EHL. This was just outside the 23. The ball clearly played off the attacker's body and down, leading to the goal. And even in this circumstance, there's so many other things that can happen. This referral obviously was not allowed, and nor should it have been. And here, Stefan, you're saying the referral shouldn't be extended, looking at the other sports like date? Sports like date. You say rugby's ruined the game. Oh, okay. Maybe that's data. Yeah, teams should be able to recover. There's so many things that can happen in between. But a decision that leads to a penalty corner, a decision that leads to a stroke, a decision that leads to a goal, those things are much more direct cause and effect. Okay, and even then, you know, we see arguments about, well, was that really disadvantageous, and did that really determine what happened after that? So we have those questions that erupt here. Stain, how far do you allow it to take back? It has to be a clear-cut order. I absolutely agree. And it doesn't seem like we're always going to get to the right result. When you look at this, you can say, you know, geez, that's a lot closer, but a lot or a little are not terms on which we can hang our hats. And if we disallow a referral on subjective grounds, then we are introducing yet another instance of potential error on our side, and we don't need that kind of pressure. Maybe in practice, these referrals outside the 23 will likely only occur for instances such as this. No, in reality, it would be a nightmare. It would be an absolute nightmare for sure. David, how far back are you allowed to go before the statute of limitations on a play? That's a really good question, David. So one of the things that is not clear in the whole video referral process is there a time limit? Is there a number of fouls that could occur, or incidents or touches on the ball? That particular element, I have not seen that get abused, because there are so many changes of direction of the ball. There are so many touches. There are so many things that can happen that you tend to see a very direct, even if the ball pings around a little bit, if there was something that happened before the event that caused the decision to be made for a goal, for a penalty stroke, for a penalty corner, it's usually just seconds. And all I can tell you is that in the hundreds of games that I've watched over the last 4 years, I haven't seen an instance where I thought, wow, come on, a whole bunch of other things had happened beforehand. We use this term of art called passage of play, and there's no definition of that whatsoever. But it tends to, for me, mean one direction or one possession until there's some kind of contact by the other team. To me, that's what a passage of play is. When I hear commentators use the term, they tend to mean like just literally an action. So a passage of play is the pass, and then the next passage of play is the shot. The next, for me, nah, that's not how it works. So anything that happens in that contemporaneous possession is something that can be referred. And I haven't seen it abused that way. So there's something about hockey that makes sense to people, and they haven't tried to stretch the boundaries as international players yet. Yeah, and this is the problem, Stefan, that you're indicating other sports have. I don't watch sports ball, so I don't know. Then the video officials bring it to attention and makes the right result very difficult. Yep. And rugby tournaments are removing the captain's referral for that reason, going miles back for a technical error doesn't seem right. Hi, Hang. You're a badged umpire, and even though incidents happen in a split second, you're still able to see and blow the whistle accordingly. Okay, I don't know what that means, but thank you. Video officials tell the on-field umpire to make a decision. VR in football has caused some issues as well. And that's the thing. We've had video referral since started in 2012 in EHL, I believe. No, it has to go further back than that, because it's got to be around 2011, because we were using it in 2012 in the Olympic qualifiers, and so it had to have been before that, because I wasn't brand new. But that was the first tournament I was at in Antwerp, an Olympic qualifier, where we had our first exposure, our sort of generation of officials, and it was like brand new, very freaky. And we've kept to this principle for the last 10 plus years, and our video referral system is kind of one of those guiding lights in the sporting world. Everybody's like, yeah, they've got it right, because generally it does a pretty good job without interrupting things. Yeah, Hang, guess what? That isn't acceptable in this environment. If you want to take part in the stream and you want to comment, you don't comment like that. Okay, I'm not putting that up on the screen. Those are the terms. If you agree, you can stay. If you disagree, you go, or I ban you. Thank you. That's bullshit. You just don't know what you're talking about. Bye. Okay. So let's move on to the next topic. And it relates to what we just talked about. And I'm going to introduce this notion of ball to hand or hand to ball. Because this particular piece of play caught my eye.
Germany coming forward and coming very close.
Niels, I can't talk to you right now.
Living just a little bit dangerously
So,
here.
hand to ball
Great pass.
and ball to hand is a concept that we use in indoor hockey. When we talk about the permissible use of the hand, it's not in the guidance, it's just one of those common areas. And a goal wasn't scored here. But as soon as I saw it, I thought she's moving her hand towards the ball in a manner which allows her to play the ball when otherwise she wouldn't be able to. With additional protection, with absorption, with the ability to impart a different direction on it. And this is one of those things that in indoor hockey, you may call this as being an illegal use of the hand because the hand is going towards the ball instead of the ball going towards the hand, as we saw in the first instance. Okay, so the things that I looked at when I checked out this rule is I went back to the indoor rule book, and this is a 9/11. It's not always an offense if the ball hits the foot, hand, or body of a field player, and this is the guidance. The player only commits an offense if they gain an advantage or if they position themselves with the intention of stopping the ball in this way. It's not an offense if the ball touches the hand holding the stick but otherwise would have touched the stick. Okay? The outdoor wording is almost identical. So what's interesting to me is that we have this concept that we use in indoor, and if somebody has their stick down on the ground, and there's a lot more contact of ball to hand in indoor than there is in outdoor because of the closer proximities, because the ball is always down on the ground, and that's why the players always have their sticks down. So if a player is holding their stick and their hand on the stick and the ball lodges, okay, lodges between the stick, here, I got my straw. Got this, okay? So they got their hand on the stick and the ball lodges, and they're able to direct the ball more effectively because they've got that glove providing an extra lever. Then that is going to be, should be called up as a use of the body, okay? It's a reusable straw. I only have reusable straws in my house. So, sorry, I'm supposed to put comments back up. Okay, so it's an interesting point, not one that arises very often in outdoor. But I think if that ball had gone in the net, there's a chance that that would have gone to referral, and it would have been a really tough one to decide because I don't know if we have that common understanding and we have that consensus in outdoor hockey the way that we do in indoor hockey. And whether that would actually apply in this situation as well, because she didn't lodge and redirect, but she did punch her hand forward and glove. Okay, so that is why. So Hang, you're asking why would the ball touching the hand holding the stick? Because that's not a foul. I just explained it to you that in indoor, if you gain an extra advantage because of your glove, and you're able to manipulate the ball in a way that isn't simply the ball, hitting or being stopped by your glove, that you use it to play the ball actively, that's an offense. And that's the way that I've always called it, and everybody I know calls it, and the way I've seen it called in at European indoor, and I got my FH badge in indoor, so there is something there. And we play 6 months of indoor in Calgary every year, and this is what my body of knowledge is informing me of in indoor hockey. Does it apply in outdoor hockey? I don't know. I'm raising a question for discussion. And for you, she was trying to direct the ball. She was. So it's a tough one. It's something worth keeping in mind if players, because more players are using bigger gloves on the field. You're seeing players using double mitts, okay? And some players are a little derisive about, players who do that sort of thing. So that is You know, it might happen more often. And if they figure out the whole issue with the rules being, okay, so I've had discussions with a number of FIH people about this, and we're not really in an agreement about this, because the issues of the extra protective equipment, okay, hand protection used both for normal play and to defend penalty corners must fit comfortably in that box. So they're saying that the same big hockey mitts that are worn as protective equipment for penalty corners could be worn during the rest of the game. Players just tend not to because they're tough to play with. But when we talk about removing penalty corner protective equipment after a penalty corner is completed, there's an argument to be made with the way that the rule is worded that the only piece of equipment that refers to is the face mask. Big gloves don't present danger to anybody else. Knee pads, they don't present a danger to anybody else either. And this is something that the Rules Committee needs to have a look at and figure out which way they want to go with it. Because there will be decisions that need to be made at some point about all of those things. And when I read the phraseology about where they can wear the equipment and when it has to be removed, the way it's worded allows you to interpret it that it's only the masks. I like run too. I like not running as well. Ben, if you haven't gone in and umpired indoor full time, given it a good shot, then you don't know what you're missing, because it's dope. It's a lot more fun because you got lots of calls to make. Okay, so in summation, just something that I wanted to bring to your attention as a possibility, something that we might want to keep an eye on. And you know Murphy's Law is it's going to come and bite us in the butt as a big decision to make in a big game at some point, and nobody will have talked about it and people won't know what they're doing. And that'll suck. I hate that. Yes, Stefan, we know you're on a big kick to bring indoor back in New Zealand, and I love it. Okay, next topic. How are we doing? 12:30, it's okay. Goal played off the body. This one won't take too long, but this happened in the India-Japan game.
On the left-hand side is it's got in. We're going to check this. See this come back off the body. It's going to be an umpire's referral. Sharmila scored it.
First off, Ivana did a fantastic job on this play to immediately make a decision, but then self-refer it up to Ayana to make sure that she gets it right. Really good work. It's not the initial contact with the ball at all. There was clearance with the right foot. You'll see it when we see the top down or the behind the goal action. But what we need to see is the next angle that's coming up just now. And so that touch is fine, but then the ball comes off the post and has not actually crossed the line before the Indian player's knee makes contact and pushes it in.
Is it fully over though? That's the thing.
See, David is like already alluding to the thing I'm going to talk about.
Bouncing and then if it doesn't hit a knee,
But
it goes in
give me all
anyway.
your feedback on this. For Denman, still a goal, looked like it was going in, and therefore no change of the advantage.
Ivana, I have a decision for you. It did touch
And for Niels,
the line before
same
going
thing.
to the goal post, so therefore it's a free hit for Japan, and we can proceed accordingly. Yes.
Okay. Do you remember this from a What Up Wednesday?
Could be 5-2. And while Charlet just making his point, Decision to make for umpire Ben Gunzgen. Back with Spain.
Yeah, I'm looking for stick or foot.
Correct. Unusual one in so many ways. The lack of goalkeeper being first thing. Victor Charlie's back there trying to scramble it. Mark Rene's in there trying to touch it in. Now Charlie's appealing that it's come off the foot of Rene, I believe. There.
That goal. But
that is hard to tell. Who would be an umpire? A thankless job.
no.
Ben,
Yep.
it did hit the foot, so it's no goal, and you keep your referral.
So there we go. Larry and Delford.
We had the same discussion the last time, and a same proportion of you all felt as though it should still be a goal. I think when I make an argument that maybe is a little difficult for y'all to swallow, but you see it consistently interpreted in a particular way at high levels, you might want to reconsider how you would apply the rule in your situations. Okay? The ball hadn't fully crossed the line in the first instance as we were looking at it. Okay, so it wasn't a goal until after it had touched the attacker's body. It's very arguable. This one is even more close, that the ball was going to go in regardless of whether it touched her body or not. So when you talk about disadvantage, you're right, but the spirit of our game requires for us not to allow players to score goals off their body. End of story. Okay? This is an easy decision. There's no player on this pitch who's yelling, saying, but come on, who was disadvantaged? It's like a natural law. Okay? This is consistency. This is the consensus. Consider that when you're in your own situations. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what to call. I'm just trying to make y'all better umpires. Yeah, in both cases, the ball appears to be going in. It's very difficult. There's, yep. And David, it did touch the player's foot. Okay. How quickly was it going in anyway? As if a slower defender could have, in theory, reacted. Oh, I was hoping you could hear. I'm not sure which particular, whether it was this clip or the other clip, but there's not, basically the only question that is asked, there's no conversation about advantage. There's no, oh, I decided that it was a goal anyway because nobody was disadvantaged by the foot that I clearly saw. That is not the question that went to the video umpire, but that is something that they could consider anyway. But the answer comes back in both cases simply that it did touch the attacker's body. So neither the pitch umpire nor the video umpire in this situation, in both cases, two very experienced, very knowledgeable umpires. Ayanna is one of the best video umpires in the world, bar none. Lorene Delforge, one of the best pitch umpires in the world, bar none. Both came back with the same decision. Okay, that's the consensus. Ollie, is the decision was a goal. Do we have a clear video which shows the ball hitting the knee before the line? For you, it's hard to judge given the ball's in the air when it hits her. Maybe no reason to change. Yeah, but that's not what the video umpire saw. The video umpire saw it clearly hit her knee before it had gone over the line. Okay, so that is where that happened. I don't know if any of you are going to accept it, but I'm just trying to help. The last touch to get it over the line is the body, not the stick. No goal. Stain, same would go if an attacker gets a high ball off the body from the defender, lets it come to the ground and scores. It's a PC, not a goal. Yes, the double or the 2 wrongs don't make a right sort of golden rule. There you go. Yeah, and people have argued that that's true in the other situation as well, that the ball was going to go in anyway. So there was no change, no meaningful change, other than the fact that the ball was played into the goal off the body. And in hockey, we don't accept that. We don't like that. It's the cardinal rule, which we make very complicated and have many, many discussions about otherwise. Okay? I hope that was interesting. Number 4, here we go. Clarity on taking the free hit. Just a nice little example here I wanted you to see here.
Guys, we need to make it clear so I can manage the 5. Okay, so make it clear.
Okay, it happens very quickly in this case, but a free hit is awarded to South Africa. And what happens is the player brings the ball, the player who's going to take the free hit brings the ball from behind her body, and it's in motion, and then she's still keeping that ball in the same motion before she is about to attempt a pass, I believe. And Alicia steps in, double whistles and says, hey, make it clear for me so I can manage the 5. And I think that's a really nice statement to make in that situation, because you're giving the player the reason very quickly. It doesn't take long at all for her to utter these words, but it gives the player the rationale. I'm not just trying to be a dick. I'm trying to make sure that I know where the 5 meters is, because I don't want to get it wrong for you. I don't want to get it wrong for the other team. I just don't want to get it wrong. So help me out and show me exactly where it is. The interesting point to this, if you watch the motion, something that I've been sort of keeping a really close eye on, when attackers are close to the circle in particular, and that split second of getting the jump can make such a difference as to whether they can penetrate the circle or not. Players don't necessarily bring the ball from behind them and put it in front of them and then take the south pass from there. That's a wasted motion. Instead, the ball may be behind them and they'll start dribbling off in that direction, because after all, they can't go straight ahead into the circle anyway. And in those situations, we apply the start of the free hit to where that player puts the ball in motion, regardless of which direction the ball is going in. And we're able to do that without too much concern, because we know that the player isn't going to go straight ahead, because she can't. We know that the defenders don't, if it's going quickly, the defenders aren't going to be getting 5 meters away because they don't have an opportunity to. They are going to be able to shadow from inside the circle until the ball is able to enter. Okay, because we're applying that 5 meter rule. Out in the middle of the pitch, it's a little more difficult, but it's worth keeping in your mind. And it's about you staying sharp when you're on the pitch and saying, this player isn't necessarily going to do the typical get the ball, bring it in front of me, and go. I would like to see more players actually experiment with moving the ball away on their self-pass. Okay, not because I want players to be tricking umpires and making it harder, more confusing, but in a situation like that, why not dribble it to the right and, you know, look for your transfer and that sort of thing. Not just from a coaching perspective, but a way to get the ball moving more quickly off free hits. We have this tool of the self-pass, and I don't think we're still using it to its maximum potential. But in order for that to happen, we as umpires need to be sharp, and we need to be focused and concentrating and understanding what the players are trying to accomplish out on the pitch, and not getting in their way with officiousness when they're trying to do the right things. We don't want to stop the game because of misunderstanding. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I wish were better about camera positioning, Hang. It's just, you know, we're trapped by money. We can't have the number of cameras that we really need at almost any of these tournaments because of the expense. And the production teams say, sure, do you got another, you know, 50,000 euro in order for us to have one more camera? Sure, well, we can do that for you. And we're like, no. And when I say we, I mean they, I mean the FIH. I mean the tournament organizers. Okay, very, very expensive stuff. If the goal isn't given, it can't be self-referred. Actually, this is what I thought was the case, Stain, but it isn't. Okay, so just to split back into the thing that we were talking about before. If the ball goes in the goal, but an umpire awards a free hit because they perceive a third-party obstruction, for example, somewhere else in the pitch, and we actually talked about this with one of the situations in the EHL with Sarah Wilson, and we said, okay, like, what would have happened? Because it was very close, the ball going in the goal and her awarding the free hit. Was the ball already in the goal? Was it mostly in the goal? And there was another Pro League match involving India that this was a big question on as well. And the argument is that even though the call wasn't positively a goal, that if a goal was not called, you can still appeal that, because you can refer the non-calling of a penalty corner, right? You can appeal the non-calling of a penalty stroke. So why can't you appeal the non-call of a goal? You only can't if the ball didn't actually go in the goal because of the actions of the players. Because they all stopped because the umpire's whistle went, you know? And that's why that timing is so crucial and so difficult for umpires to get, because that is unique to video referral tournaments. It's a flipping of the skill that I can't even, you know, as somebody who's been umpiring for 30 years, more than 30 years, I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine what that would take to switch that. So that's tough. And yes, the video cable. It's not the cameras and the operators. Those are expensive too, but it's the cabling apparently that is massively expensive. And it's only the attacker's body that matters, defenders and umpire's goal. Yes, the ball, David, has to be completely over the line, as Mr. Denman has exampled. In our sport, on the line is in. The ball has to completely cross the line to be out. So that's true of the circle line, that's true of sideline, that's true of the 23-meter line, that's true of the 5-meter dotted line, which we can't always judge because it's dotted or it's hash marks and there's like empty gaps. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. So there you go. That's interesting, Hang. I haven't seen that clip, and I'm gonna go back and look for it now. So, yeah, I'm not gonna worry about sports ball, but Japan and Kakamigahara used the game in Malaysia against Malaysia. Okay, I'm gonna go have a look for this and see if I have that match, so I can go have a look and see exactly what happened. Because I think it's important, because so many of you have a different understanding of how you would apply that in your own matches to what you're seeing up there. And I think the more information I can grab, I think the more helpful that'll be. Where we at, yo? Where we at? Okay, I think we're on 5. 1:45, we're doing good. Okay. Reversing the free hit.
The German side at the moment. Germany seems
Note
to be
the
playing
time.
both within themselves and having enough to
Second quarter,
dominate proceedings
11 minutes through.
It's out on the line, please. Last time, please, on the line. Everybody 5. Thank you.
Okay. So taking.
Even tempered Lorraine Delphine.
Sorry, I started talking at the exact wrong moment, so I'm going to take it back because I want you to be able to hear what Lorraine says. If you can't hear it, here, I'm going to turn that off too. Okay, so pay attention to what Lorraine says. If you can't hear it, I'll repeat it for you.
Out on the line, please. Last time, please, on the line. Everybody 5. Thank you.
Last time, please, on the line.
Next time I reverse
Even tempered Lorraine Delphine.
Next time I reverse, Vanry. So she's saying that to her colleague over the radio. Now look where we are.
Need to stop the ball.
I thought her patience
Fourth
was,
quarter.
Running a little short.
13
and,
minutes left.
No surprise to me that Lorraine Delphine,
Same team.
Germany here, were making no attempt to stop the ball from the free hit.
And the player takes it in the wrong spot, takes it rolling. Bang. So when it comes to reversing free hits, I actually have feelings about it. I actually would like to see something. I prefer seeing umpires actually card this because it's a form of it can often be a form of time wasting. It's that sort of thing. And flipping possession is such a momentary penalty that doesn't usually pay big dividends. And when I think that reversing the free hit can be an effective first intervention tool, but I'd like to see it happen earlier. I'd like to see not so many restarts be given. And then I'd like them to move to cards. And whether the team keeps the ball or you reverse possession and you card the player, I don't know. But to me, there's not enough of a... there's not enough deterrence, even in just flipping the free hit. Even though some players are like, they get super irate at that. The advantage to giving cards in these situations is also that you take the offending player out of the moment. They have to go and sit down on a suspension chair and think about what they've done. That really helps to calm things down in a lot of ways. And I know you're all, oh no, but cards make everybody angry. Well, it depends on how you administer them and how you deal with them. But the best part about all of this that I want you to take out of it is that Lorraine marked the moment and the behavior she didn't like, and she verbalized, not just to her colleague, but to everybody watching the game, that the next time it happened, she was going to reverse. That's a promise. That is a promise. The next time it happened, almost 2 quarters later, she did it. When you're speaking to players and you're indicating to them, next time that's a card, first of all, it probably means that that time you're actually talking to them and telling them this next time is a card. That was probably the card. If you make those promises, you had better cash that check. If you wrote it, you better cash it. I prefer less promissory actions because at our levels, if you struggle with determining whether something is worthy of a card or not worthy of a card, promising that you're going to give a card can get you into trouble. Because if you look at something and you say, oh, I'm not going to card that, people believe that you didn't follow up on your action, not that you were simply adjudged that moment not to be an intentional foul, for example. I hope I'm explaining that pretty well. I'm not sure if I'm getting that, if I'm getting that right. Absolutely, she's decisive and authoritative. She has her style. She's got a legal education. She is a lawyer, and I really admire the way that she applies interpretations of the game, the way she manages the game. It wouldn't work for everybody, but it absolutely works for her. And yeah, Lorraine was talking to both sides on this. the advantage to the matches in Amstelveen is that we could hear the work that the umpires were doing to try to be proactive with the players. And if you're in the watch parties and you're listening to me talk, I am a big fan of that proactive stuff. No, make sure you got that stopped. It's on the sideline, please. Yes, that's 5 meters. Careful on that. That proactivity I love. What I don't like is the arguing of the call afterwards, to getting into the no it's not, yeah it is, no it's not, yeah it is kind of debate with a player. That's backwards thinking. That has you thinking about the play in your mind, trying to come up with a better response to the player in the moment, and that distracts you from what you need to do, which is read the play, anticipate what's happening next, and try to get the players to play better. So I think it's really important there to, if you're going to communicate the game plan to your colleague, if you're going to communicate the game plan to the players, you better follow up on it. What she said to the players was last time, not again, last time. She didn't say what she was going to do, but she told Vannery. And not only was that a promise to Vannery, that was a promise to herself. So that's a good way to get yourself to take the action. It's the same way as saying in the moment and you're playing advantage off a breakdown foul and you say, that was 25. We're coming back to that. Yep, 25. Gotcha. All right. Was it 25? Okay, we're still going. All right. And then the next stoppage and play, bang, 25, off you go. It feels great because you are simply following your own directions. You were doing exactly what you told yourself to do and what your colleague helped you tell yourself to do. Make the commitment by speaking that out loud into existence. It's very good. Yeah, so the I don't have any area ball interpretations in here, but I certainly do address that usually on a weekly basis on the What Up Wednesdays. They aren't easy. The new rule, I think, is starting to make it a little bit better. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and that's why we're here every week talking, so that we can make sure we get it going. All right. 6. The new Facemask Rule. Oh yes, we had a really fun example of this. Spain, India.
They go to Genet, looking for the deflection on
Save is made, free hit awarded.
Good work by Grisel, that's poor. And here is Jimenez. Jimenez on the reverse. And almost takes out the cameraman behind the goal.
Great interception by
Oh, I guess I could have shown the end of that play.
Again, they go to Genet.
I went too early.
And going for the backhand. Great interception by Jimenez.
Okay, so we have a defender, face mask on.
Way too high.
Cameraman.
Free hit had been taken, and the play simply continues. I don't want to give you a leading question on this, so I'm open to hearing any thoughts on what you've seen there. Does anything look weird to you? Does anything look out of place? Does everything look completely normal? Is this how you would understand the rule to be interpreted? I'll just sit here and listen to my groovy little instrumental. Do, 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 do. Okay. Because as soon as this happened, my phone started lighting up with messages from various people. Is there a face mask on the pitch? Probably. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is the first run. It's called players are starting to discard their face masks, and then they start getting their gloves and their knee pads off, except for number 4. Okay, there's a mask in the D in front of the goalkeeper. It doesn't seem to reflect play. Oh, there's one bang in front of the goal. Okay. And yes, this is the new rule governing the discarding of protective gear and when they can. the new rule in play. She tried to take the hit quickly, no issues. For you, she took it off after the whistle blew. So what some really high up people were putting in front of me as an idea was that was not the intention of the change in rule. Players should remove their penalty corner equipment as soon as they are able to do so after the penalty corner is completed. If no suitable opportunity to remove equipment arises, they can continue to wear it whilst they're within the 23-meter area without penalty. All players must remove protective equipment before they leave the 23-meter area or when instructed by the umpire. The primary objective of wearing the face mask is to defend a penalty corner. To defend a penalty corner is safety, and wearing of that which is consistent with the underlying spirit of this guidance should be allowed. So what was being argued to me was that in taking the quick free hit, the defender had basically chosen the moment at which she should have been taking off the equipment, which is right after that free hit. And it wasn't intended that a new passage of play, according to my sort of understanding of what a passage of play should be, that now the ball's turned over to the attacking team and they come in and take a shot. Well, that's not, the defender shouldn't be entitled to wear that. I was really surprised to hear that argument, and I just wanted to bring it all to your attention because it did come up. And to me, that's exactly the kind of situation that the wording of the rules allow now. It doesn't matter who still has possession of the ball. It doesn't matter if the defending team are now the attacking team because they're starting to move out the pitch, or they were the attacking team, then they're back to being the defending team and that sort of thing. Did that player have enough time, a suitable opportunity to remove their face mask? And just because she effed up that pass doesn't mean that she forgoes that right to a suitable opportunity. Okay? Her safety still, I mean, just imagine, it probably would have been a great thing to have that face mask on as that tomahawk went flying. Just because it was so terrible, it didn't hit her. But she wasn't closing at the right kind of distance. It was actually a pretty unsafe situation in a lot of ways. So to me, that is exactly what should be permitted under this wording. And when you think back, I can't show you the clip because I want this entire stream to be left up and the IOC not to come at me. But if you remember, as I certainly do, the incident in the India-Argentina quarterfinal pool match, jeez, memory, that all the players had their gloves, knee pads, and face masks on, and the ball had pinged around, it gone up to the 23, it had come back, it inserted, and it was like 15 seconds at least of the ball being outside the circle, and a ton of players, well, a ton of the defenders not even being involved in that play, not even bothering to take off their equipment. And on the video referral, it was adjudged that they didn't have a suitable opportunity to remove that equipment. If that's true there, this certainly is an example of when a player doesn't have a suitable opportunity to take off their equipment. So let's see. Well, the problem is, Hang, is that because this is a technical rule, it's not about disadvantage. I hate rules like this, but they exist. This is one of them. It's a technical rule. And if, I guess the interesting part would be, do you require the player to influence the play, or do they actually have to touch the ball in order for the call to be made? In Tokyo, it was made when a defender with a face mask on actually touched the ball. So that's kind of an interesting point. Luckily, it's a moot point in this case, but yeah, that's Yeah, good of you to point out, in a way. Was it discussed in the What Up Wednesday when it was first announced? No, because I didn't even think that that was a parameter that should be implied by these rules. They've said, basically, you know what? We're just going to let defenders wear the masks as long as they feel they need to. And I said this, like, what defender is running around their 23 going, this is dope, I love wearing this face mask, I want to do this all game? I mean, nobody does. It's brutal. It's hot, it's messy, it ruins your hair, and you can't see the damn ball very well. You do stupid things when you have a face mask on, like let the ball hit your feet, or, I don't know, hit it straight to a striker on the opposition team because you can't see. It's not advantageous for a player to wear that, other than that there's a requirement for them to remove it because it's unsafe for other players, and that requirement then incurs a disadvantage to that player because they have to stop playing for a second to be able to pull off the mask and throw it off the end line. Okay, so that's where that comes. Yeah, right? I'm here for you, Ben. It's the player, not the ball. Yep, true. It's the player wearing the mask, not if the ball leaves the 23. You got it. Defender was inside the 23. One of the Germans has a personal face mask. Yes, it's medical reasons. You remember seeing her wear it, and when she was carded, she took it off. What was the issue? Well, it was hot, and she just went and sat in her chair. She took it off and took a towel and wiped off the inside, and then put it back on again. No issue. As a further spirit of the game, did the player wearing the face mask cause any danger? No, but again, we don't wait for the face mask to actually cause danger in order for, and just because the defender's wearing, I would actually want to go one-on-one with a player wearing a face mask all day, because that's the only chance I'd have of getting around one. Oh, you can't see this dope thing I'm doing because you got a grill in front of your face? Excellent. Viger, wouldn't her taking her face off mask before she played the ball be more dangerous? Say if an attacker would charge at her while she's removed. Yeah, I mean, if she takes that quick free hit, as she is entitled to do, as we want to see happen in order to speed up the game and allow attacking and sexy things happen, well, you can't then say, well, as soon as you hit the ball, you then have to remove the mask. There's nothing in the wording that leads anybody to that conclusion. It's just for these people who contacted me, they were like, this doesn't look right. And I'm like, but doesn't it? To me, it does. Yeah, so that's back to the player wearing their mask. There you go. You think it's possible to take off the mask when the free hit was awarded, but not in between. Yeah, and I mean, it's possible, but really, that player on the ball, if we go back to the replay, okay, watch how quickly it happens. She's the player on the ball when the free hit happens, or the one in behind, and she doesn't have time. Her choice is that she doesn't have time, but there's nothing that says that she has to make a different choice, that she has to take off that mask before she hits the ball because there's a chance she's going to hit the ball straight at an opposition player. There's nothing in the rule, the guidance or anything that requires that. There's nothing that says a player has to try to take it quickly, but we're trying to encourage that. Therefore, if they take that kind of action and mess it up, they're still allowed to wear that face mask until a suitable opportunity presents itself or an umpire has instructed them, because they can't seem to identify a suitable opportunity on their own. Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. I don't think she had enough time to take that off. Yep. Going one-on-one with a player wearing a face mask and then a goalie. Don't be a smartass.
Every 20 or 30 years.
Nobody likes you when you try to be clever. Okay, I like you when you're trying to be clever because it's funny. You're right, but they get to use their entire body, and that makes it really hard for me to get around them because I am not that dexterous. Yeah, it sounds like a shootout, and that's why I like, personally, penalty stroke competitions, because I can take penalty strokes. Can I take a shootout? Hell no. No. Hang, Spain can't ask for a penalty corner because the rule actually requires that the mask be, that the ball hits a piece of discarded equipment. And then you have, which rules? There's definitely 9s. Could be 9-12. That's what's sticking in my, nope. That's obstruction. So there's 9-16. Following a corner, if the ball hits any discarded equipment, such a hand, protector, knee pads, or face mask, free hit should be awarded outside the circle, penalty corner if it occurs inside, but the ball has to hit the equipment. So the rule's pretty clear there. Yeah, other players did take their equipment off. They took their face mask off first. Did you notice that? Each player took off their face mask because it's the thing that's the worst. Got rid of that. They all had their mitts on and their knee guards. Yeah, each player took off their equipment at the right suitable opportunity. Okay. So if you're at the pub and somebody asks you, "Hey, do you remember that game?" Or what does the new face mask rule allow me to do? You now know, I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt. 7. Hi, Anne-Marie. You have a really good question, so I'm going to stop going on to 7. If it prevents a goal. Here we go. 12.4a. If the ball hits a piece of equipment lying in the circle and a probable goal is prevented, a penalty stroke may be awarded. I don't know why the wording is may. The wording should be should. I'm just saying. One of my courses in law school is legal drafting, and there's a big difference between may and should. Yep, there it is. Okay. And this is a good time. I mean, I don't know what it's like for you guys when you're at home and you're watching or you're walking your dog and you're listening to me drone on about rules, but every time I get asked a question, I feel a lot better when I can actually pull up the rules right here in front of me, and I can actually say, yeah, 12.4a. Even though I've probably read the rules more than any of you have read any other document in your life. Like I've seen the rules more often than you guys have seen your own signatures, but I still mess things up, and I still need to continue to grease my wheels. So don't be afraid to do that. Hockey World Cup 2018. Did that happen, Freddie? I don't know. Let me take a screenshot of your question, and I'll go look for it for you. You're in the server, so start a thread in Ask FHU so that I also remember, and I'll go look for it. You are very welcome. And by the way, welcome! I'm always so excited when I see new names, so thank you. You have the rules in a separate window whilst watching. Dang! Rachel! Monitor. I like that. Absolutely. Okay. I'm not listening to you. SCF, I'm not listening to your sport ball. Okay. Thank you for your question, Anne-Marie. It's fantastic. Goalkeeper deflection off the end line.
That's a nice take into the
New Zealand, Germany.
New Zealand.
You ready, Stefan?
Well, that would have been a worldie if that had gone in.
Because now that I've watched this, after clipping it...
Now, this is an interesting call.
I get her points.
Yes, the goalkeeper's played this ball deliberately.
Can you hear Lorraine saying, not in charge?
From his shot.
She's got a player in her ear, and she's like, don't even talk to me. It's not my call.
There goes my subscription to the Goalkeepers Union.
There is no clear reason to change your decision. It is a goal-saving action, so stick with your decision, and New Zealand lose their referral.
So what happened there is the ball... Sorry, I'm visually separating these things. The Argentina-New Zealand quarterfinal was that the goalkeeper arguably threw her glove and then threw her threw the stick and then threw her glove, none of which contacted the ball. But the Argentinian attacker's stick couldn't make contact with the ball because the blocker was right there. I'll pull it up. Yeah, well, sorry, I'm here to shoot people down. Just kidding. Okay, let's watch the replay of this. So, David, great question. Thank you for leading me into it. The infraction here is that defenders can't intentionally play the ball off the end line. However, goalkeepers may intentionally deflect the ball off the end line. Okay, so if we go to the rules here, it's 10.2 A. They are permitted to use their stick, feet, kickers, leg, or leg guards, or any other part of the body, including their noggin and their butt, to deflect the ball over the back line or to play the ball in any other direction. Okay, so this is an exemption. This is a exception to the rule that no player, no defending player, can intentionally play the ball off their end line. Goalkeepers may deflect it intentionally. So what the referral here was trying to sort out was whether this was a deflection or a playing. Okay. The end line is the term that's used in the rulebook. It's not the back line. Okay. Not the right rule, Hang. I've just told you. So I'm sure you're up to speed now. So Niels is starting to get to try to find some principles that we would apply in this situation. Whether the goalkeeper moved their hand while touching the ball. Right? To make a difference between playing and deflecting. That's a good question. Does a deflection require a stationary hand or, say, stick to play the ball in a different direction? Let's say, for example, there's a high shot that comes and a goalkeeper then sees that shot coming and they leap into the air with the greatest of ease and they Superman it and they pop the ball over the goal and the end line with their blocker. Was their blocker still? Did they impart more force onto the ball? What about the definition of a deflection by a field player? For example, when the ball is deflected high into the goal. Is that still a hit or is it a deflection? How much movement is allowed? Okay. Let's see. The rules don't say anything in 10.2 about using their hands. Well, it does say any other part of their body. So hands are part of the body. I don't know why they elucidate any of those things, David. Like, it's a good point because it's stupid drafting. Like, why not just say goalkeepers are permitted to use their stick or any part of their body to deflect the ball over the end line? Like, why do they have to say kickers, legs, or leg guards? They do that because back in the day, the rules had different, you could do different things with your kickers than you could do with your blockers. Those of you who are old, like me, will remember a time when goalkeepers weren't allowed to direct the ball with their hands at all. And that is the weird ass language that comes out of Maggie's mouth. I love you, girl. Again,
nice take
under
into the
pressure,
circle. Is there something for
this
New
is
Zealand?
not shade. But the language that this is part of a goal-saving action, that doesn't matter. That's not part of the rules anymore. That was back in the day.
Now, this is an interesting call.
The goalkeepers were allowed to use their hands to direct the ball if it was part of a goal-saving action. That left the rules like, I don't know, 8 years ago? I didn't even look because it's been that long.
Good call in my book.
Okay.
There goes my subscription to the
So,
Goalkeepers Union.
if you believe
There is no clear reason
that the
to change
blocker
your
has to be
decision. It is a
completely
goal-saving
stationary
action, so
in order for it to actually qualify as a deflection,
New Zealand lose their referral.
I think that's a standard that you're going to struggle to maintain throughout every example. And you will absolutely contradict yourself within the same game. Okay? What do we consider a deflection? I mean, in order to be sure that it doesn't end up in your goal, you're going to impart more force onto the ball. You simply have to. What we look for in players, whether it's a deflection or a hit, is the level of backswing. So if that goalkeeper had flung, if they'd done this, words, arm back here, okay, that you'd say, that's not a deflection, that's playing the ball, because there is a back swing of the arm and a forward swing. In that case, she didn't go punch, she just, okay, it was there and she directed. Does that constitute a deflection? I think under the standards that we apply to goalkeepers in this situation, because it's an exception, because we allow goalkeepers, their job is to stop the ball from going in the net, that it's a little more lenient than what I think some of you are describing. So, Viger, deflection does not require a stationary object. Otherwise, keepers couldn't take any shot that wasn't directly in front of their current position. Yeah, exactly. Like, you got to kind of move to it and that sort of thing. I'm not saying that this is 100% a deflection, but you need to be sure. And, I mean, Stefan, you weren't happy with the angle that Vanry had on this, but any backswing motion of her arm in order to actually play the ball, to impart a whole nother set of forces onto that ball, Vanry would have seen it from where she was. Because she was offset a little bit behind the goalkeeper's angle. She wasn't straight in behind. And even if she was straight in behind, she would have seen that blocker come back like this. And the fact that she didn't, and the blocker is right in front of her body, okay, in real time, okay, but it's like that. That's it. Is that enough for a penalty corner? No. Not for me. But that's not true, because attackers, field players, oh wait, if you're talking about taking a shot, that's the analogy I'm going through. And we do allow deflections. We don't require a completely motionless stick for it to be a deflection. We don't. We look for a backswing. We look for a hit motion. We look for more than 50 centimeters, because you're counting, of motion on that stick for it to be a hit instead of a deflection. Because we have to make that judgment call all the time in indoor and on penalty corners in outdoor. That sounds like I'm not sure what that is, but Ryan, it's difficult from where the umpire stood. She can't see the ball, but she can see the movement of the goalkeeper as well. So. Okay, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not arguing about this right now. There was a time that keepers could immediately catch the ball and release it. or catch the ball and immediately release it. Stefan, I mean, there's crazy times for goalkeepers. I was the worst umpire for goalkeepers because I just kind of wanted them to be able to do everything. Because I'm like, that's cool skill. So I didn't call many penalty strokes at all on them. Yes, how much movement is allowed? 50 centimeters. There you go. Yeah, that's why she preferred it. That doesn't mean she's right. What was the outcome? The outcome was that the referral or the request for a penalty corner for intentionally playing the ball over the end line or intentionally deflecting the ball over the end line. Sorry, intentionally playing rather than intentionally deflecting was not given. The penalty corner was not given. Yep, 23-meter restart because the referral was asked after the ball went out of play. And New Zealand kept the ball at the 23-meter restart, but they lost the referral. Yep. And no reason to change the decision. Yep. You would consider the power of the shot. Yes, as the keeper has less time to react, so more likely deflection. Maybe. From a spectator point of view, that should be a PC. Well, we don't get to call things by spectator points of view. Spectators don't know the rules. You can see the more power being added to the ball or not, as if going away faster, it's a hit. Yes, if it imparts more force on it, but just imagine if you just deflect like that. If you're not totally sure, if you didn't move your blocker at all, and you've got a shot with venom coming at you, if you don't make any kind of action at all, I'm not a goalkeeper. Steven, Stefan, all the goalkeepers in the crowd, would you not be worried that that ball is going to plow right through your blocker and end up deflecting into the net from that angle? What would you do in order to deflect the ball off the end line? I'm hearing it. Wait. 011000011. Yeah, I'm right. You would do that. Because you have to apply more force to it in order to make sure that the force isn't applied to you. Your original thought has to be stationary wrist moment is the deflection? That's a little harsh. Umpiring is a necessary requirement, but a thankless task nonetheless. Yeah, it's absolutely thankless. You would keep force on your hand. You've had many times that your hand was stationary really fast and the ball just went straight through your hand. Thank you. Look, I'm not a rocket surgeon, but I can operate on a space-bound object. I'm just saying. Okay. Where are we at? Oh, gotta hurry. Okay, 7. Oh no, that was 7. Great, 8. Oh, Ollie. Okay, let's see. You're a bit confused for this clip. When would we penalize? Only when they move their hand 50 centimeters towards. Yeah. Yeah. The fact the keeper rotates their glove toward the end line is okay? Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. And that, my friends, is why I'm paid the non-existent big bucks. It's because I can sell you on these things. It's about the consensus, right? And I try to approach all of these situations as the umpire was right. Why? And then I can start to dissect where they may have made a mistake. But so many people go into these discussions with, they're wrong. And that changes everything. That changes your nature of inquiry. You don't look at principles, okay? Because opposition is the fuel of stubbornness. And our psychological bias to protect our decision means that we can never be convinced otherwise. It's very difficult. Gut. Yeah, I mean, Henry made a gut decision in that moment. And she was upheld on referral. Okay. Referring the wrong thing. This was the audible. Okay, I'm just going to do this quickly because there's not a lot we can learn from this.
Owsley gets past Cedres.
But a lot of you English, so let's go through it.
Owsley pulls it back and on the far post. Suchi makes another fabulous save. And on the reverse stick.
Yes, Rachel. This is why you're my favorite.
How about this for a save from Belen Suchi? It's an absolute worldie from Hamilton at the far post.
Great action of Owsley.
I am highly disadvantaged by the ratio.
Absolutely fabulous.
David's lobbying to become a moderator. I don't know if you can hear strange noises. If you can, it's because our windows are being washed. I'm getting ready to wave to somebody. Okay. So these are the dying moments of a 1-0 lead, a 1-0 lead, Argentina in the quarterfinal over England. After this ball goes out of play over the sideline, England take the sideline ball, hit it into the circle. Now I'm starting to think, wait, was that directly in the circle? Anyway, it doesn't matter. There must have been contact, there must have been a dribble, something like that. And the Argentinian defender deflected the ball very artfully, you know, over the end line. So they referred on that, on anything to try to get a penalty corner. But this is what they should have referred on. And if you were in the watch party, 15 of you were, because you're amazing. If you were in the watch party, you heard me say, oh, I think there was a tackle from behind there. There's a potential for a penalty stroke. Right here, Walker is about to take this shot. In comes the Argentinian stick. And as you see this pull through a little bit more, the Argentinian stick is in her way and stops her from getting a good shot. If they had referred this, they may have gotten their penalty stroke. The point of me bringing this out is not to say, you know, boy, I would have missed that call in real time too. Absolutely, as the umpire. But just imagine if there was somebody, you know, in their camp who would have said, refer that one, and this is why, and gotten the message down. Somebody who has experience in umpiring. The arrogance of the playing and coaching communities towards what we do as umpires, thinking that all we do is get in their way and tell them no when they want to do things. They forget all the time that we are there to help that game be better. That's what we're doing in serving the game. They could be using all of us to serve the game so much better. And they won't. That, my friends, isn't even my rant of the week, because guess what? I have a bonus for you that has nothing to do with the Women's World Cup. This video was sent to me by not one, but two members of the community who direct messaged me, and I said, hey guys, I have a server for this. And the fact that two of them sent it to me separately is a great sign that this is something that should be put forward to the entire community for the whole community to benefit from. Can you I don't know if you're watching this right now, Stefan, this or Stain, this could be your reaction. What? Refer your... Yes, I love that. I'd like to video refer... I would like to refer the number of likes that I have. And the website is back up, sort of. It's mostly back up. Thank you, Niels, I appreciate that. Okay. So this happened in a New Zealand under 18 competition. I'm not entirely clear of the level, but as I look at the basic standard of the players, it's pretty good. And they're under 18s. So on this play, the ball is mistakenly hit by the attacking team and it goes back towards their own defenders, but none of them play it until the goalkeeper clearly kicks the ball outside of his circle, as Hang very helpfully points out to us. And Stain says, what? The result that was given was a free hit to the attack and a 10-minute yellow card. It's under 18 national tournament, provincial level. So these are provinces playing each other. So this isn't me throwing shade at that umpire whatsoever, or her colleague, or anybody on the bench. Not at all. You made a mistake in the moment. That's fine. What I'm deeply concerned about it is that this was sent to me by 2 other umpires of that tournament who said there's been a lively debate within our team as to what the correct decision was. And that, my friends, is my rant of the week. What? What? The only question is to how long you'd want to give that card for. Frankly, I think a 5-minute yellow card is more than sufficient because of the lack of serious impact it had on the game. Okay? It didn't stop an attacker from going through and scoring on an empty net. That would be worthy of a 10-minute yellow card, in my view. Or if there was some physical nature to that foul. But there wasn't. That's just a 5-minute yellow card, but it has to be a penalty corner. The arguments being made were, well, does the game really need that? They're just under 18 girls. The game doesn't need that. You have a job to do, okay? And your job isn't just to get decisions right. It isn't just to keep the players safe. It's to teach players what the rules are. Those are players who are going to go next year and try out for the Black Sticks. They're going to go and play for Prem club teams in New Zealand. That's your future generation of high-level players, and none of them are going to know what the right rule is because you didn't call it the right way because you didn't think the game needed it. The game needs you to award correct penalties. You don't have to do it with officiousness. You don't have to be an asshole about it. You can do it with empathy. You can do it with rapport. You can explain the decision. Sorry, I don't have a choice. But that's a clear, intentional foul. If you hadn't have touched the ball outside the circle, if you let it go, it would have gone out and it would have been a 23-meter restart. There is a disadvantage there. Do your job. Because every umpire at a lower level who doesn't enforce the rules, who doesn't give cards when they should, who don't give upgrade penalties when they should, because it's a friendly, because it's just kids, because it's just women, you are failing to serve the game properly. Because you're not training players, you're not training coaches, you're not training spectators, you're not training each other to umpire according to the consensus. What we've agreed are the rules that bind our game. Do your job. Okay, I'm gonna look at your comments and then I'm gonna let you go. That's the other thing. Well, you can't give a card and not give the upgrade penalty within the 23 or within the circle anymore, according to the FIH briefing. No personal interpretations, it says. Now, I don't love that rule, but it's been pounded into me. Every time this happens, I have to remind y'all, if you're going to give the card, you have to give the upgrade penalty as well. I mean, look, who knows what was going through that player's head? I don't know. But I do know what the result needs to be, and I know that you can give that result, you can handle it appropriately. A 5-minute yellow card is just fine. That's what Paul Walker gave in the Commonwealth Games when the Pakistan goalkeeper came running out and intercepted a pass, or intercepted, it was like a 50-50 ball, and he came running out, and outside the 23, he dove and cleared the ball away with his stick, but he was outside the 23. Goalkeepers can't play outside the 23. He broke down the play. It was a 5-minute yellow card. It had to be a free hit because it's outside the 23. I have the clip. I can put it up on the server if you want to see it all. But that was only a 5-minute yellow card. Commonwealth Games International. So does this need a 10-minute yellow? I don't think so. I'm sure that's a massive part of it. That's a massive, massive part of it. Sorry. Window washers are coming. I was like, wow, what the hell is that? Snakes! Oh, it's ropes. It's okay. You've heard this before. It's a problem there. Yeah. So, Tom and Liam, there you go. I've given you your answer. You go back to that group and you tell them, and if any of them have a problem with it, you send them to me. You tell them to join the server, FHumpires.com/Discord. You get them in there and I'll set them straight. Yeah, there's a lot of rules I don't like. And I talk about them all the time, but I still have to enforce them. Yeah, exactly. It's our job. You're absolutely right, Stain. These are the same umpires who are going to go out there next week and they're going to be like, oh, these players don't know the rules. And why the F is that the case? Because you don't teach them. End of story. If you do not uphold the rules, you have got no shade to throw. None. None. Don't be a hypocrite. It's a culture issue. There you go. Thank you. There's a misunderstanding of intention with a lot of players. They argue that you can't read their thoughts. Yeah, and that's why we don't judge on their thoughts. We judge on what we see. Was it reckless as to the result? Yes, that's intentional. The word sucks, okay? Yes, that's one of those things that I have written down in my notes. I've got a big file of all the things that I changed in the rule book, and that's there like about 14 times. Okay, and there's a reference to the 2009 Champions Trophy. German cleared up a Korean attacker and then should have carded the goalkeeper beside the penalty stroke. That actually refers to a discussion, maybe you don't know it, but last week, Hang, if you were around, go check last week's discussion. We had a discussion about, it was Netherlands-Ireland game, early. Yeah, I wonder if some of the umpires feel badly because they haven't been umpired. Like, okay, well, that's circular. At some point, you got to be the asshole. I don't consider it being that way if A, I do it with empathy and rapport, and B, I'm doing it right. Because I'm like, I'm sorry that you had crappy umpiring in the past. Guess what? That changes now. And you're going to wish you had great umpiring all the time. Follow me and you will, you know? Basically. Well, don't give them a free Red subscription because girls gotta make some money, Stefan. I got a mortgage to pay. Here you go. Yes, and the rules aren't there to be mean to them. The rules are there to keep them safe. Hockey is so much fun that way. That we don't have stupid things, by and large, except the things that I rant about. We don't have stupid things in the rules that are there only because, yay, we get to make a rule about it. Like, everything's about safety. The sideline ball is about safety. The boundary lines are there to stop you from running out into the street after a ball and, you know, going in to tackle somebody and then getting run over by a car, okay? Like, there's a confined area where we know we can keep you safe. Obstruction, using your feet or body. The backside of the stick arguably is a safety issue. I think it is. Some people don't believe me. That's okay. But all these things, not being able to raise a ball directly off a hit, raising the ball intentionally from a hit anywhere on the pitch unless you're shooting a goal, that's a safety issue. Safety, 5 meters, safety. Everything's about safety. And that's why we can talk about principles and we can apply them and we can get to good results that make us feel like, you know what, that just makes sense. Because if you play the game, you know when things are unsafe, you've been hit in the foot, you've been bumped off a ball, you know what dangerous situations are like. You have a player's sense. Nobody can afford me, but somehow I make it. Oh my God, Ian! I am just wrapping up. It's 1:42. I'm sorry, we went a little bit over time, but it was good. Now, I'm going to, after the Commonwealth Games, a couple days after that, I'm flying out to Vancouver and I'm going to be one of the UMs, co-UM at the Under-16 National Championship, and I'm super looking forward to it. There's quite a few umpires there that I already know. I know my umpire managing colleague pretty well, and I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be a great challenge for me to make sure that I walk the walk, that I walk the talk that I've been talking on all these things. This is my first UMing for frickin' ever because of COVID. And it's under 16. There will be 13-year-old players on that pitch at times. How do I strike the right balance with my umpiring team to make sure that we are teaching these kids the right rules and we're doing the right thing for the safety and the fairness of the game? And let me tell you, one of those things won't be that in the appropriate situation that my umpires should not card the players. That is not going to be one of the pieces of advice. Hang, there was a few months there that the rules were drastically out of date. So don't always trust it. Don't use the app necessarily. Go to the, I have a nice little shortcut here. Go to the FIH. Usually they do hang, not always, and not always on schedule. COVID threw a wrench into it, but go to that, that link and download the most recent edition of the rules. That is the safest way. The rules app can be convenient and yet can be misleading. So just open the PDF up on your phone. All right. This you could rant on by yourself. It's really sad as the levels of players in the game is lower. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes, join that replay squad. Okay. I'm wrapping up tomorrow. Blissful silence from this visage. I can't wait. We have the last 4 matches of watch parties to go. In the server, so I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. I hope it's been a fun experience so far. I think we've had some good times. We've had some good times. We've had some down times. We've gone through a lot. It's been a roller coaster. And then I will be back next Wednesday on schedule. I'll wrap up anything else that comes to my attention from all the other 40 matches, but also for the last 4. And anything else you have on your minds. If you have something you'd like me to cover, discuss, rant on. I'm just so excited that my stream deck actually worked this time. So there you go. I had to play it twice. If you have something you'd like me to talk about, please do get in touch. I prefer vastly if you come into the server. If you DM me on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I'm going to ask you to come to the server and come talk to me there because there's too much. There's too much going on, especially during these tournaments. So just come, just join, okay? There's nothing scary about it. We'll help you. It's all doable. Thank you. I am really going to enjoy it. Thank you, Hang. I appreciate the spirit in which you took my comment. I have very firm lines, and I'm not afraid to. That's why I'm an umpire. Kakiriano to you as well. And you're very welcome. And you don't have the yellow rank. Yes, you can get a watch party pass if you pop in. And we will, yes, see you very soon. Thanks all. Enjoy the rest of your day and your evening. And see you next time on What Up Wednesday. Bye, everybody.